Today we're going to look at how we're going to make the sugar cookies. So, first of all, I've brought my tray up to the ingredient table. I have two separate bowls that I need to mix things into. So I have one bowl. Alright, I'm going to need a tablespoon, half a teaspoon, a quarter teaspoon, that's 1/4 teaspoon, a regular spoon, my 1 cup dry measuring cup, and then of course my mixing bowl. For the other ingredients that go in the other bowl, I need a regular knife, and I need a 1/2 cup dry measuring cup. Let's get ready to measure. Alright, I'm going to start with the ingredients that I need in the first bowl. We're going to need flour, baking soda, and baking powder. I'm going to start with my flour, and just like we did before, we're going to take our spoon and stir it up a bit to get some air in there. And then I'm going to put big spoonfuls in here and fill it so it's slightly overflowing over the top of the edge of the cup. Make sure we're not shaking the cup because we don't want to take any of that air out. That'll make your cookies hard. Flip your spoon over and start on the middle. Go out to the sides. Then add that into your bowl. Now we also need 2 tablespoons along with that if you follow your recipe. 1 cup and 2 tablespoons. We want to make sure we get the TBS. You can see I've already measured some here. It's already powdery. But we want TBS, the right measurement. And I'm just going to drop some in here, level it off. Drop some in, level it off, and I'm done with my flour. I'm going to move on to my baking soda. When we flip up this, we can see again it has a sprinkling edge. Alright, I'm not going to sprinkle into my measuring cup. I'm going to take the lid off. Then I'm just going to reach into the container. I might have to tilt it to the side a bit. And I can shake it a little to level it off, and then just add it into my mixture. Put that back. My last is the baking powder, which is 1/4 teaspoon. Remember how we did before, we're just going to flip that open, reach in, and we're going to use the edge to level it off. Add that into our ingredients. And we are done with bowl 1. We're going to move on to the second bowl now. Okay, we're ready for our second bowl. Here's what we're going to do this time. We need butter, sugar, and you need egg and vanilla. I will already have a little bowl filled with 1/2 an egg and 1/2 teaspoon of vanilla. Dividing an egg gets kind of messy, so I already have that done for you. Okay, so let's start with our butter. If you look at the measurement, you need 1/3 cup of butter. So again, we're going to look here for hints. And it's going to tell us how much 1/3 cup is. It's 5 tablespoons plus about 1/3 of another one. So we're just going to take our knife. We're going to measure to the right measurement and just slice through the paper. Leave your little bit extra behind on the table. And just take this back with you. For our sugar, we need 1/2 cup and 2 tablespoons. So like our flour, we need to add a little bit more. So I have my 1/2 cup measuring cup. I'm just going to take the sugar, and this one I can just scoop it out. I don't have to worry about incorporating a lot of air. Alright, I'm just going to level it off here. I might take the back of my tablespoon just to make sure I have the exact right measurement. I'm going to add that into my bowl there. Alright, then I need my tablespoon, 2 of these, and I can just shake it a little bit, add it in. There we are. And then I'm going to take 1 of these back to my kitchen. Alright, so now I have my butter, my sugar, my egg, and my vanilla. We're ready to get mixing. Alright, once I get back to my kitchen, the first thing I need to worry about is incorporating the dry ingredient bowl. In here I have my flour, my baking soda, and my baking powder, and I want to make sure it gets evenly distributed. So I'm just going to take my whisk, like we did on the pancakes, exactly like we did on the pancakes, and just stir it up a bit for about, 10-15 seconds. Alright, this is doing 2 things. It's making sure all the ingredients are evenly dispersed, and also since we're using a whisk, it's adding a little more air in there. Right, which is going to make our cookies lighter. And that's all you have to do to mix up your dry ingredients. We'll move on to the other ingredients now. Here we are with our second mixing bowl. This one's going to be a little more complicated. Alright, I have my bowl of sugar, my butter, my egg, and my vanilla. I also need an electric mixer, my rubber scraper, and of course, my garbage bowl. The first step that I have with mixing these ingredients together is I need to cream together the butter and the sugar, which means to mix it together really well until it's smooth. So I'm going to unwrap my butter, of course. I'm going to put that in the garbage bowl, set that in, and then I'm going to take my electric mixer and mix it up. Alright, I'm ready to mix. I already have my beaters in my electric mixer. It's plugged in. Now some hints are, we want to make sure that we put our beaters well down in the bowl, because if I hold it up here, it's going to spray everything everywhere, and I want to start on kind of a low speed. Now since I have a great big chunk in there, a good idea would be to cut it up a little bit before I mix it. Alright, so I'm just going to slice that up a little bit. That's going to make it a little easier to mix it up once we get started here. Okay, just a couple chunks. Alright, I'm going to carefully put this in here. I'm going to move the cord so it's out of my way. And here we go. Okay, notice I started at a low speed because I want to start getting it to break up a little bit so that the butter's mixed in with the sugar a little. Then I'm going to turn the speed up so it'll go a little faster. Something you may have noticed is as I'm mixing, I'm turning the bowl a little, and that helps me get all of the butter evenly dispersed. Okay, I'm going to keep going until it's all creamy, and then I'll show you the results. I finished creaming together the butter and the sugar. Alright, it's kind of hard to tell on video, but they're pretty much like fluffy clouds now instead of big chunks of butter mixed in with sugar. The next step is to add in my egg and my vanilla. Okay, so I'm just going to take the little bowl that I have, pour it in, give that to somebody to wash. And again, I'm going to start on low and just mix until it's incorporated. And there you have it, it's all mixed in. The next step is to add in my flour. Alright, I have my flour mixture that I already whisked together right here, and then I have my butter, my sugar, my egg, and my vanilla all mixed together here. I want to gradually add in the flour to this. If I dump it all in at the same time, it's going to be very hard to mix, and the cookies will most likely turn out tough. So I'm going to take my big spoon, alright, and just put a good amount in here, sprinkle it over, and I'm going to mix together this small amount. And you're just going to go until most of the powder is mixed in before you put in your next spoonful. I'm going to take another big spoonful, mix it in a little at a time. You'll notice I'm keeping my mixer on low. When I get to this step, I don't need to turn it up real high. And I'm just going to keep on mixing in a little bit at a time until I've got it all mixed in. Okay, I've mixed in all my flour, and you're going to notice that once you have all your ingredients mixed in, it's still going to look kind of crumbly. All you're going to do is take a clean hand and just take it and mush it together a little bit. See how that makes it all come together so we don't have any more crumbles? Okay, I'm going to dust the edges here so I get rid of that last bit of flour powder, excuse me. Alright, okay, then I'm going to cover it up with foil. Mrs. Caparulo will put it in the refrigerator, and we will bake them the next day. There you go, there's your sugar cookie dough. Alright, it's time to bake our cookies. So the first thing we need to do is prepare the pan. We're going to need a cookie sheet again, and then just like our biscuits, we're going to take some parchment paper. That'll make it easier to clean, and the cookies are less likely to stick or to burn. So I'm just going to take my cookie sheet, I'm going to get about the right size here. The sharp edge is right underneath, so I'm going to pull down. And of course it curls up, so I'm going to turn it upside down and lay it out on the cookie sheet. There you go. Now you can put your cookies on it. While the pan is being prepared, there's something else that needs to be prepared as well. I need a little bit of sugar. So I'm just going to bring my tray up with a regular plate and a spoon. I'm going to take about 2 spoonfuls of sugar and just sprinkle it here, mainly in the middle. Spread it out just a little bit here. And we're going to take that back to our kitchens. We're ready to bake. Alright, so I have my cookie sheet that's covered with parchment paper. I have my plate of sugar, and I have my dough, which chilled overnight. Now if you're making this at home, you don't have to chill it overnight, but you should chill it for at least an hour, which makes the dough firmer. Alright, and all we're going to do is we're going to break off part of the dough. Okay, this is not a gooey dough, it's pretty firm. Okay, and we're just going to form it into a ball here with our hands, maybe a little bit bigger. Okay, maybe about the size of a golf ball, a little bit bigger. Then we're going to just slightly roll it in the sugar, coat it a little bit. We're going to move it over to our cookie sheet, and we're just going to lightly press down on it just a little bit. I'm not going to smash into it, I'm just going to flatten it just a little bit. Okay? So you're going to work as a team here. Alright, more than one person can do this at a time. Grab about a golf ball size amount of dough, roll it in your hand. You're going to have to squish it together a little bit. Alright, roll it in the sugar. Place it on the cookie sheet, not too close because they will spread as they begin to bake, and gently press down. Alright, you're going to continue with that until you have all of your dough on your cookie sheet. Alright, I've got my cookies ready to go. You'll see that amount of dough makes about 8 cookies. I'm now going to take my oven mitts, take it over to the oven, and put it in for about 8 to 10 minutes to bake until it starts to turn a little bit of brown around the edges. Make sure you set your timer. Alright, here's what our cookies will look like when they come out of the oven. Now, we got to notice a couple things here. Notice that they kind of still spread into each other, so we need to spread them out a little bit farther. I didn't cover my whole sheet with parchment paper because I ran out. You guys will have plenty, so you'll have plenty of room to spread them out. Now how we know they're done is we're not going to stab all of these because when they first come out, they're still going to be pretty soft. Cookies are soft when they first come out, no matter how long you cook them for. They harden as they rest, as they solidify on the inside. So what we actually look for is that it's just starting to turn brown around the edges. Now, unfortunately, the camera's not really picking that up, but we want it just beginning to brown. We're going to let them set for about 3 or 4 minutes while we make sure everything else is cleaned up, and then you can enjoy your cookies. That's it.